This is everything we deserve, Mr. Reeves. A wedding that reflects who Nicholas and I are.
The binder landed on the coffee table with a quiet thud, vision document stamped in gold leaf.
Helicopter exit, designer dress flown from Paris, 11-tier cake. All non-negotiable, of course.
Stephen's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. He'd built an empire reading people, and his gut was already screaming.
Dad, isn't it incredible? Steph has thought of every detail. We're so lucky.
The total comes to just under 200,000. But it's only once in a lifetime, right?
I'll consider it carefully, Stephanie. You've put a lot of thought into this.
After they left, Stephen stood in his study, staring at the vision binder like it was a grenade.
$200,000 and a list of demands, as long as my arm. Something is very wrong here.
He reached for his phone. There was a call he'd been hoping he wouldn't need to make. He scrolled to Frank Morrison's name and pressed dial.
Stephen, it's late. Is everything all right?
Frank, I need you to run a discreet background check. My son's fiancée.
I can do that. What's the concern?
She handed me a list of non-negotiable demands, totaling $200,000. Something feels off.
I'll pull every record. Give me 36 hours.
Nicholas will hate me if I am wrong, but I can't let blind love walk him off a cliff.
The call ended, leaving Stephen alone with the silence of his study and the weight of unspoken fear.
Every dollar I saved was to protect him. This is that moment.
Miles away, Frank Morrison powered up his forensic tools, and the first keystroke set in motion events that would shatter or save a family. Frank's fingers flew across the keyboard, pulling credit reports, public records, and social media footprints on Stephanie Vance.
No criminal record, but the credit history has gaps. Closed accounts and sudden payoffs from 2 years ago.
He cross-referenced her name with newspaper archives and wedding announcement databases. A grainy image surfaced. Stephanie Vance, beaming in a bridal gown, engaged to a man named David Chen, date stamped 5 years prior.
5 years ago, she was 27. Why hide a previous engagement from Nicholas?
The engagement had been called off 3 weeks before the date, with a terse family notice citing irreconcilable differences.
Once is heartbreak, but the timing and secrecy feel wrong. This could be a pattern.
He saved the article and flagged it for deeper analysis. 36 hours now felt too short.
If there's one, there may be more. I need to dig into her financial trail from that year.
The investigation had shifted. Frank wasn't just checking a name anymore. He was hunting for buried truth. While Frank dug through databases, Nicholas and Stephanie drifted through a world of champagne and custom tailoring.
Steph, you are a vision. I can't wait to see you walk down the aisle.
And this suit is just the beginning. Your father wants the best for us. He said he'd consider everything.
Stephen watched a photo arrive on his phone. The happy couple, their laughter fueled by his savings.
He's completely under her spell. Every cent I spend pulls him deeper into her trap.
Dad just wants us to be happy. Once he sees the wedding, he'll be proud.
He'd better. We deserve a fairy tale, and I've waited long enough for mine.
From a distance, Stephen watched the couple on the park bench, his heart a knot of paternal dread.
If Frank finds nothing, I am the monster. If he finds everything, I still have to break my son's heart.
In his pocket, his phone vibrated. Frank's name flashed on the screen. The clock had just run faster than expected.
Frank, tell me you found something.
I found more than something, Stephen. Another engagement, 3 years before the first.
The weight of those words pressed through the phone like a physical force.
Another one? Are you telling me this is a pattern?
2 engagements, both called off weeks before the wedding, and both families signed non-disclosure agreements.
NDAs. That's not heartbreak. That's a cover-up.
I traced the financials. In each case, deposits were never refunded. The families lost hundreds of thousands.
She's a con artist, Frank. Bleeding families dry for wedding deposits she'll never honor.
In his study, Stephen's knuckles went white around the phone as the full scope of the betrayal sank in.
Keep digging, Frank. Frank. I need every scrap of evidence. My son's future depends on it.
Frank ended the call and immersed himself deeper, chasing financial ghosts across 3 states.
A third one. 7 years ago, a West Coast fiancée. This is a career criminal. Each family lost over $200,000. Non-refundable deposits never returned.
He read aloud from a financial summary. Stephanie Vance, 3, canceled weddings, total losses exceeding $600,000. He printed the documents, each page a nail in a coffin that was not yet built.
Stephen needs to see this. A dossier that leaves no room for doubt.
Frank assembled the evidence: engagement notices, bank statements, North Dakota A redactions, a portrait of predation.
She didn't just break hearts. She bankrupted families.
The dossier, crisp and damning, lay on his desk as dawn broke outside his window. One phone call, one file, and a father's worst fear about to become a son's salvation. They chose a booth in the back, far from ears. Stephen's coffee went cold, untouched.
I've been doing this 20 years, Stephen. I've never seen a pattern this calculating.
Give me the numbers. I need to understand what she's done.
Frank slid the manila dossier across the table, its weight a promise of devastation. Stephen lifted the flap. The first photo was a younger Stephanie in white, beaming beside a man he'd never seen.
That's David Chen. Engagement number 1. Called off 3 weeks before, family lost $200,000.
3 engagements, 3 families bankrupted, and my son is next.
2 of them signed NDAs. They were so ashamed they paid for her silence.
She won't buy my silence. She'll never see a dime from this family.
He closed the dossier with a quiet thud that echoed like a verdict. The next move was his alone, back in his study. Stephen locked the door and spread the dossier across his desk like a map of betrayal.
That same smile. She gave it to 3 men before Nicholas, all of them fooled, all of them ruined.
He traced the columns of numbers with a trembling finger, each figure a family's shattered savings.
Nicholas thinks this is love. He's drowning in a lie, and I am the only one who sees the rocks beneath the surface.
He turned to the NDAs, legal armor she'd used to silence the wounded.
If I do nothing, she'll strip him bare. Financially, emotionally, he'll never recover.
He picked up a pen and wrote 3 words on a blank sheet: confrontation, evidence, lunch.
I have to do it myself. No intermediaries. She needs to see my face when she realizes it's over.
He slid the dossier into a leather folder, its presence now a silent partner in the coming operation. By the time he reached for his phone to invite Stephanie to lunch, there was no hesitation in his fingers. He pressed her name with a thumb that didn't waver. The phone rang twice before she answered, her voice bright as polished silver.
Mr. Reeves, I am so glad you called. Have you looked through the vision document?
I've studied it thoroughly. Let's discuss the details over lunch tomorrow. Aldridge's noon.
Of course, I'll be there. This means so much to us.
The call clicked off. Stephen set the phone down. The bait had been taken with a smile.
I just talked to Dad. He's taking you to lunch tomorrow. That's great, Steph.
He's finally on board. I'll handle the rest.
Dad, it's me. Steph told me about the lunch. She's so excited.
I am looking forward to it, son. We'll figure things out.
He hung up, the weight of the coming day pressing heavier. One meal, one chance. Aldridge's opulence hummed quietly. Stephen entered, the leather folder a second spine under his arm. He chose a corner table, ordered water, and waited, the folder on the vacant chair like a silent accomplice. At exactly noon, Stephanie Vance swept in, radiant in white, her smile wide and careless as summer.
Mr. Reeves, I hope I haven't kept you waiting. This place is absolute perfection.
Not at all. Please, sit.
He pulled out her chair with a stiff courtesy that chilled more than it welcomed.
I've already spoken to the cake designer. He's holding the date for the 11-tier masterpiece I described.
We'll discuss the details, but first, let's order.
She glanced at the leather folder. curiosity flickering for a moment before she masked it with a smile. Stephen ordered with unnerving calm. The real conversation had not yet begun, but every heartbeat said it was close.
Before we discuss cake, let's talk about your past.
He opened the leather folder and slid a glossy photograph across the white cloth.
That's David Chen. Your first engagement. His family lost $200,000.
Stephanie's smile froze, her hand retreating from her wine glass as if burned.
That was years ago. I was young. It didn't work out.
Stephen didn't blink. He slid a second photo beside the first.
And this is Mark Dalton. 3 years before David. Same short engagement. Same financial bloodbath.
Her fingers curled into her palm, nails pressing crescents into flesh.
You've been engaged 3 times in 7 years, Stephanie. Every wedding canceled weeks before. Not a single deposit refunded.
The air between them thickened. The facade was crumbling, and she knew it.
You don't understand. Those relationships were different. I was younger. They pressured me. I wasn't ready.
Stephen's expression didn't flicker. He pulled a spreadsheet from the folder and laid it beside the photographs.
David Chen's family lost $200,000. Mark Dalton's $220. The third, $300. All non-refundable.
She reached for her water glass, her fingers trembling so hard the ice clinked against the crystal.
That's not my fault. They signed contracts. I never forced anyone to spend money.
You made them sign non-disclosure agreements. Legal armor to keep your scheme quiet.
He slid the NDA copies toward her, the redacted names stark black bars against the white pages.
I can't talk my way out of this. He knows everything. What do you want from me?
He didn't answer immediately. He just let the silence bleed, trapping her in the gravity of her own history. Stephen pulled a single typed page from the folder and slid it across the table, the paper crisp and unforgiving.
1 sheet of paper. My entire future reduced to a few typed lines.
You will end this engagement within 48 hours. You'll cite personal reasons. You will never contact Nicholas again.
Or what?
Or I take this dossier to the police. Fraud investigations don't end quietly, Stephanie.
The typed sheet was brief, brutal, and allowed no escape.
If I agree, I lose Nicholas. If I refuse, I lose everything. He's not bluffing.
This is not a negotiation. This is your one way out.
He spent $200,000 on investigation alone. He won't hesitate.
The silence held. In that vast, still moment, her entire world balanced on the edge of an answer she couldn't yet give.
I have no choice. He holds all the cards.
Then, almost imperceptibly, she nodded. A surrender so small it might have been a tremor.
It's done. The threat is gone. But the worst is yet to come for Nicholas.
I'll do it. I'll call him tonight.
She pushed her chair back, the scrape loud in the silence, and gathered her purse with unsteady hands. Stephen remained seated, watching her go, the folder still open like a just-read eulogy. She didn't look back. The restaurant's heavy door swung shut, and the world outside swallowed her whole.
Now I have to face Nicholas. And I still can't tell him why.
The dossier lay on the table, its pages a silent record of devastation and a father's impossible choice. He signaled for the check. The war was won, but the hardest conversation hadn't yet begun. That evening, Nicholas's phone buzzed. Stephanie's name glowed on the screen, and he answered with a smile that would soon vanish.
Nicholas, I can't do this. I need to call off the wedding. It's personal reasons. I am sorry.
Steph, what are you talking about? We're getting married in 4 months.
I know. I can't explain it. Please don't contact me. It's over.
The line went dead. Nicholas stared at the screen. The call ended. Her name already a ghost.
She's gone. Just like that. Everything we planned, it's just gone. Dad, I need you. She ended it. I don't understand.
Within 20 minutes, Stephen's car screeched into the driveway. He found his son on the floor, a husk of the joyful man from that morning.
I am here, son. I am not going anywhere.
But the truth burned in Stephen's throat, a secret he couldn't yet speak. He held his son and waited, knowing the hardest days were still ahead. The weeks bled into months. Nicholas moved through the stages of grief like a man wading through a swamp he could not escape.
Why wasn't I enough? What did I do wrong?
I saved him, but watching him suffer is its own kind of hell.
Then, one morning, Nicholas laced up old running shoes and hit the pavement. Sweat replaced tears.
Move forward. Just keep moving.
He's coming back, but the truth remains a locked door between us.
6 months after the breakup, Nicholas went a full day without thinking of her. That night, he slept without nightmares.
Dad, I think I am finally okay. I am not angry anymore.
I am proud of you, son, more than you know.
But the dossier remained locked in his study, a silent testament to a con that had nearly consumed his son. Some truths, Stephen knew, would have to wait. 1 year later, Nicholas sat in a downtown cafe. A Facebook notification from a stranger pierced the quiet.
David Chen. Why does that name sound vaguely familiar?
You don't know me, but I was engaged to Stephanie Vance 5 years ago. She did to me what she might have done to you.
Another victim, or just some scam artist? I don't know if I should believe you. What do you want?
The reply came within a minute. I want to tell you the truth. Not in messages. Meet me here tomorrow. Same cafe. I'll bring proof.
Proof. Finally, someone might explain what really happened. But does Dad know about this? Okay.
He closed the laptop, heart pounding with a dangerous hope. The truth he'd craved for a year was finally within reach. The next day, Nicholas returned to the same cafe. A man in his 30s with tired eyes and a thick folder slid into the opposite chair.
Nicholas, I am David Chen. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances.
David opened the folder and pushed a photograph across the table. Stephanie in a white dress, beaming beside a younger David.
That's her. That's exactly the smile she gave me.
She called it off 2 weeks before the wedding. My parents lost their life savings. She made us sign a gag order.
A pattern. She did this again and again. And my father, he must have known.
There are 2 others I've tracked down. They lost even more. We were all just paychecks to her.
Dad knew. He protected me. He took her down, and I mourned a monster. I need to talk to my father.
He left David at the table, the folder full of broken promises, and walked into a truth that would either shatter or heal everything. The drive to his father's house was a blur of white knuckles and racing heart. Nicholas barely turned off the engine before bursting through the front door.
You knew. You knew the whole time, and you let me grieve a lie.
Come inside, son. I'll tell you everything.
In the study, Stephen pulled the leather dossier from the shelf and placed it into Nicholas's trembling hands.
She was a predator, Nicholas. I had proof, but I couldn't tell you until you were ready to hear it.
All this time I thought I wasn't enough, and you took the hit for me.
He flipped through the pages, the photographs, the NDAs, the financial ruin she left in her wake, each one a confirmation of his father's love.
I am sorry I doubted you. Thank you for saving me.
I'd do it again, in a heartbeat. You are my son.
They embraced in the low light of the study, 2 years of silent agony dissolving into a father's finally understood sacrifice. They pulled apart, but the distance was gone. Nicholas sank into the chair, the open dossier a map of his past.
I was so lost. I blamed myself for months. If I had known it was all a con.
I hated seeing you hurt. Every day I wanted to tell you, but you needed to heal first. The pain was part of the release.
How did you do it? The lunch, I mean. She must have crumbled when she saw you had everything.
She saw the evidence and knew. I gave her 48 hours to end it with a story. I never raised my voice.
He faced her alone, carrying my burden. I was angry at the wrong person all this time.
They spoke for hours, not as father and son, but as 2 men sharing a wound that had finally closed.
I love you, Dad. I always have. But now I understand what love really means.
I love you too, son. Nothing else matters. We survived her together,
The clock struck midnight, but neither noticed. The study held them, two figures mended by truth. 1 year later, fairy lights twinkled in a modest backyard, and Nicholas Reeves stood beside a woman named Emily, her smile free of hidden clauses.
I never needed a helicopter exit. Just this. Just you. And I never needed a vision document. I just needed someone real.
Stephen leaned against the garden fence, a champagne flute resting in his hand, watching the two of them with quiet satisfaction.
This is what I fought for. A love without calculations.
Emily's laugh rang out, pure and unforced, as she touched Nicholas's arm.
Dad, come join us. You are not a spectator at this party.
Stephen raised his glass toward the stars, a silent toast to a future built on truth, rather than fairy tales. He glanced toward the study window, knowing the leather dossier sat on the shelf inside, a silent testament to a storm weathered and a sun saved. The fairy lights flickered, but nothing could dim the quiet peace that had finally settled over the Reeves family. When the last guest left, Stephen retreated to his study, the weight of the evening replaced by a familiar, comfortable silence. The leather dossier sat on the shelf, untouched since the night he'd shared it with Nicholas.
It's over. He's safe.
He poured 2 fingers of scotch, the amber liquid glowing in the low light of the desk lamp. He moved to the window, looking out at the last of the fairy lights, a quiet smile forming.
I'd do it all again. Every sleepless night, every hidden truth.
He turned back to the shelf, the dossier a small fortress of justice in a world of deceit. Stephen Reeves had built his legacy not in boardrooms, but in a silent act of protection. The study held him, and for the first time in years, he felt completely at rest. He raised his glass to the quiet room, and the past finally let go.